Hello and welcome to Finding Something More to Talk About. I'm Nancy Wrench, your host. Today's guest, Paula Kendrick, is a powerhouse in youth advocacy, named Youth Champion of the Year by the Boys and Girls Club of Carson and honored by AYA's Foundation for her extraordinary leadership. Whether she's mentoring young people, speaking truth with grace, or building programs that uplift the next generation, Paula reminds us that purpose and passion go hand in hand. Good morning, Paula.
Thank you for having me.
Really is a gift to have you here today. You really are a powerhouse.
Thank you.
A few months ago when we had our symposium, I was taken aback by the response that you in particular got that night. You resonated with so many of the audience, and they came up to me and expressed that to me.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I think that it's because you are beautiful, you're bright, smart, and you have a story that really hits home to everyone. So if you were to go back in time and you were to think about when and where and what were you doing when you started morphing and becoming who you are today? When did that transition happen?
You know, I think it's always been there. It's a evolution. So I can't really pinpoint when I became, because I don't see myself as become, if that makes sense. I feel like I am understanding myself better. You know, I'm seeing where I fit in the world. When you were talking about the symposium and the reaction, I'm completely oblivious to that oftentimes. I know I make an impact because I've been recognized and honored and things like that, but there's no point in time that I said, this is a defining moment for me. Maybe when I started my business, and that was completely a divine orchestration. And that is a story that we don't have time to tell right now.
When that story began, how old were you?
29 or 30.
And I remember you saying to me that your family loves you, supported you, were amazing, wonderful people, but they didn't really believe in what you were wanting to do and what you knew you could do. Is that right?
No one did.
Yeah.
No one did.
Yeah.
And it's a funny story because everyone was like, you're gonna go bankrupt, I don't know how I'm gonna go bankrupt, like, I'll just get a job, but
Yeah.
But it was all negativity except for one person. And then 5 years into my business, she said, you know, girl, I didn't really think you're gonna do it either. I just didn't want to discourage you. And I appreciated her candor, her honesty, and also supporting me during that time. But you know, you only really need one person to support you.
Yes.
And I felt like I knew God was in the middle of all of that.
Yes.
I mean, there were like things that happened. It's just literal miracles, which I'll be talking about later on in my life. There'll
Yes.
probably be some more discussion on that, because every time I tell people the story, it really motivates them to improve their faith. And I think it inspires them to want to do more, you know,
Right.
to not listen to continual deluge of negativity. Everybody's thinking about things from their own point of view, their
Yes.
own limited point of view. And if you have something in you, you should just explore that. You should just completely go with that.
When you have negative thoughts, they debilitate you. And you have to have, like you said, someone coming alongside you and building yourself up so that you have the confidence to move to the other level.
I think
And-
that we need to squash those negative thoughts ourselves, because in my circumstance, I didn't have a positive person. The one person she brought made a mug and a mouse pad with my company logo. 24 years and 10 months later, I still have that mug and I still use it on a regular basis. But you have to build yourself up. You know, you have to listen to the voice that God has given you. And that was the one thing that he really impressed upon me, is to not say anything negative. Like, I was praying and praying, Lord, please impact the situation. But then I would turn around and say, this negative thing is going to happen, that negative thing is going to happen. In the Bible, it says to capture every thought, focus on the positive thing and not the negative thing, because you're not always going to have someone to propel you forward. Most of the time, you're going to have people telling you, I wouldn't do that. That's so scary. You got to keep that good job. If I would have listened to all those voices, I probably would still have a good job, but I wouldn't be making 15 times more
Right.
than I was before.
Well, you have a strength about you that I have to think is innate too. I think as a little girl, were you a strong personality?
I was not.
Were you shy?
I was not.
What were you?
Grew up in a military household. We were not. We were to be seen and not heard. And I was asthmatic. It was like a tiny little thing. So no, I wasn't strong at all. It came later. That's why I'm saying there wasn't really one thing. It was just an evolution. It was a lot of tiny little things that happened that gave me more confidence. You know, the more things you do, the more confident you're going to be. And then,
So give us an example of one of those.
when I was in college, I was so shy because we were so sheltered. There would be a bunch of students that would be in the quad. I'd walk all the way around so I could avoid that. And one time I was running late and I was like, oh my God, I cannot take the time to go all the way around. I have to go through. And so when I went through, I was like, okay, I didn't die. I'm still alive. And so from then on, I just cut through and I met people. It's just the more experiences you have. That's what I want to do with my kids at the Boys and Girls Club too, is giving them experiences because they've never been out of their community and just showing them what's possible.
Where did your passion for advocacy come from?
I honestly think it's in my DNA. I really do. I think I was born for it. A lot of people don't understand it. I've been criticized for being generous.
What I was thinking about the other day is exactly that. Sometimes when you are genuinely giving, it comes across like there's a motive.
I had to learn a lot of psychological terms, and it's really they're projecting negative viewpoint on me.
Yes.
And so I'm not going to limit myself or the person I'm trying to serve based on your limited view of the situation.
Yes.
And that's why I said a lot of times generosity is very much misunderstood because people don't give. You know, I have friends that are worth hundreds of millions and they gave $50. You're worth $100 million and you gave $50. Do you think you're going to be poor because you gave $1,000? No, it's very much misunderstood.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned through your work in youth advocacy?
Biggest lessons with respect to the kids. I've always known that I'm a blessed person, but understanding some of the dynamics that they're dealing with makes me a little bit more compassionate and try to solve those problems. They're huge. They're enormous. They're dealing with a lot, and I don't have kids, so I don't really know their psychology. So I have to learn. I have to get into that space. And originally when I started with the Boys and Girls Club, I wanted the younger kids. I got high school. It's just like a whole different dynamic, you know, but it's the walls that they're putting up because they don't want to get hurt anymore, you know, and it's like interesting when I go celebrate a little function with them, they do remember who I am.
Oh, yes.
And they're like, you said this, and are you famous? And you know, just spending that time with them makes them feel better, bringing resources to them. One of my friends has a photo booth company and she donated her time. They had never had that before. Just to see the excitement.
So how often do you mentor, and do you mentor on a one-on-one, or do you go to functions, or what is it? What is your role there?
Okay, so my role primarily, there's two things, the fundraising. People think that the government sponsors our organization, and that's partially true.
Right.
And so fundraising, raising awareness, and then supporting my site, which happens to be Watts.
You know that we have a robust mentorship program. We have 5 different areas of mentorship, and this falls right into it. So when you're talking our language, and the one-on-one time is invaluable, and they will not forget it. And it's not only what you're doing for them, you walk away with something more as well, the fulfillment on both sides. And I can't say enough about mentorship. I'm very happy to hear more about that. I was not aware that you were on that level. Let's talk about Aya's Foundation. Now that was, you were honored there in what way?
It was leadership, women in business.
So what did that consist of?
So I had done a couple of seminars for their kids, and I just was visible. I was and am a supporter, and I was really surprised to get that nomination. I was overjoyed.
We're very familiar with that organization as well. What's one experience you've had that you will carry with you as a reminder of your purpose?
Being a woman of color in this entrepreneurial space and showing that things can be done differently out of the box.
Yes.
And still yield powerful results, because it helps the kids and it helps other women, other minorities see that they can rise up ethically.
Yes. You are extremely articulate in the way you convey your message. You are everything that we exude at Finding Something More, but the finding, being, and doing is key. And the finding is your spiritual well-being, your being is your personal growth and development, and your doing is your giving back. And when those three are not full, then we are not full. And that's part of what our mission is, in that we do the giving back through the mentorship and the reading program, and we have the seminars and the workshops and all of that to build up women, and then we have our alumni program. You are now an alumni since you are a nominee. I'm going to end on, what is your something more?
There's so much more on the horizon that is going to allow me to share more and give more.
Until next time, remember, there's always something more to talk about.
Bye.